Greetings and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast, and welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
I have a story, if there's anybody still here. It's not necessarily paranormal, but if you read it I'm sure you'll agree it's fucking weird. Happened a few years ago, around the time right after I got out of high school. I have a close group of friends in high school. Never really hang out with anybody else but them, but they eventually branch out and become friends with another group. Get invited camping by another group. I don't really know them, but I like camping and they seem cool enough. Thought we were like going out in the woods and shit. Nope, it's this resort area in the middle of fucking of these rolling hills with only a few sparse wooded areas. Huge, expensive campers parked everywhere. There are even a few cul-de-sacs with these huge, newly built houses. Golf course and tennis courts. What the fuck is this? Disappointed. We're only staying for a night, so the only thing I bring is this huge, tacky blanket with a tiger on it and a pack with a change of clothes. It's so big it can basically double as a sleeping bag if I find a nice soft spot. Just so you don't, I was being a stingy asshole. I asked if I should bring some booze or weed, but they refused. What the fuck is this? Still end up having fun just fucking around, and somebody actually brought some vodka, so that was okay too. Nighttime. Around the campfire. Decide I'm gonna go off for a bit, bring my tiger blanket. Get away from all the campfires. There were more people camping out in the area. Walk in the grass along this bike path next to a wooded area and a fenced neighborhood. Find one of those wooden picnic tables in a field about a mile from the camp. Lay down and wrap myself in the blanket on the table. Oh shit. Too comfy. Fall asleep. A cold breeze wakes me up. Oh shit, I hope I didn't fall asleep for too long. Look for a phone to check the time. Left it in the pack. Well, better get back to camp and apologize for being a dick and leaving. When I get off the table I notice my feet, I'm barefoot, are wet. There wasn't any dew when I came here. Must have fallen asleep for a long time. Look around. All the light from the fires are gone. Our camp was only like half a mile from where I was. Remember walking along a trail that's behind a fence in one of those aforementioned cul-de-sacs. Find my way back there and start walking. Getting colder and colder. At this point I've wrapped myself in the blanket like some poor Siberian beggar. Why is it this fucking cold in the middle of summer? Suddenly hear like this electronic, staticky sob, like it's being put through an old radio. At first I ignored it and kept walking, but then I decided they might be hurt, so I tried to peek over the fence. The fence is tall, so I have to stand on my toes to see the other side. The house has all lights on in every room, including the ones in the basement. It's got furniture and stuff on the inside, so it looks inhabited. I can't see any people inside though. Figure it must be a show house or something. The only fence is the one I'm looking over, and it only extends at the furthest part of their backyards, so I can see into the other houses as well. Every house is the same deal. All the lights on, no people, but plainly furnished. Move along the fence so I can see around the house. Look across the street. Same shit, except the street is dark because all the streetlights are out. Remember that story about the army or whatever building a fake neighborhood over a factory? But all these houses are furnished, and there are even cars in some of the driveways. Curiosity about this and the electric noise before overwhelm me. Must find some way inside. Find a gap between the wooden fence planks that's wider than the rest. Push it a little. Find out it's a door with a simple latch I can just unlock from the outside. Peek my head in. The door opens to this almost freshly paved asphalt path that runs between two of the houses. Check the houses and sure enough, all the lights are on, nobody is inside. Feeling a bit sketchy about going in, so I stood out for a few minutes to check if I can see anybody. Nobody. Gather up courage and start down the asphalt to where it meets the sidewalk. The street is dark except for the dim yellow light cast from the houses. I decide to follow the sidewalk back to around the spot I heard the sob, and if I don't see anything, leave. As I walk, I notice just how new everything is. And I don't mean just the houses, all the cars are brand new, no stickers or decorations on them. The grass is perfectly manicured. The trees are all pretty young and all the mailboxes were exactly the same black, aluminum. I would have tried to get closer to the houses, but remember how I look, I'm barefoot and wrapped and hooded in a fleece tiger blanket. If anybody looked outside at me, they'd be writing the Greentext instead. Anyway, as I approach the spot where I heard the noise coming from, I start hearing the same static, crinkling sound. Get to the house where I first peeked from and I can hear that this noise is coming from across the street, behind one of the other houses. Cross the street and get to where I can see behind the house. Stretching about as high as the house is this white pole with speakers and lights, turned off, mounted on a white box with wheels. Is that a fucking air siren? Midway down the pole is another, smaller speaker. That's where the sound is coming from. It's like somebody's holding down the button somewhere, but not talking, so it's just dead air. Fuck it. Have to see what is going on. Go through the side yard, trying to stay out of the light from the windows. The siren is just sitting in the middle of the backyard. There's some other boxes all over the backyard too. At the edge of the house is one of them. I thought it was an air conditioner, but it's not hooked up to the house, just a black cable leading into the yard. Notice it's not the only cable. Thick black cables everywhere, spreading behind the houses to identical boxes in the yards of the houses up and down the block. I can see another siren 5 houses down from me and the same the other way, but I think the one I was near was the only one on. The cables all lead into the house. Stick my head around the corner. They all go straight into an open window in the basement. Peek a little more into the nearest basement window. The basement is unlike the others I've seen, it's just empty and bare, gray cement. There's a table with all sorts of equipment against the wall and cables fucking everywhere. What the fuck is going on? At this point I've been here for over 20 minutes, so I feel I should start heading back. Back on the sidewalk, start walking where I came through. I only passed 2 houses and nearly shit myself when all the lights in every house go out at once. Oh my fuck. Stop walking. Go into super aware mode. A whirring sound starts up from the backyards. Fight or flight mode switch goes on. Start sprinting in the dark, following the sidewalk as best I can. Notice this thick fog or smoke is coming from the backyards. Suddenly remember those AC boxes, smoke machines? Why? What? Why? Suddenly light from behind me. It's a car about 2 blocks down and it's accelerating towards me. Oh fuck, oh fuck. Reach the end of the cul-de-sac where the street curves in a circle. That's where the gate was. I can't see anything in the dark. The car is getting closer and I can hear the engine revving. Sprint into a random yard. Feel asphalt under my feet. Found the path. Rush past the gate and start sprinting down the path. In my idiocy and panic, I fucking went back to where the picnic table was. Catch my breath and look for lights, but there's nobody around. I realize I have to go back on the trail. Fuck no. Decide to cut through the woods and hopefully end up near camp. Trek barefoot. In the dark. With only my tiger blanket for protection. Start seeing lights in the distance. Come out of the woods. See my campsite. Sigh of relief.x. Get to camp to see people getting into their cars. Where the fuck are they going? Suddenly somebody says, OMG, is that him? Sorry, I fell asleep. Go back to making s'mores like nothing ever happened. Tell no one what I saw. Nobody notices my dirty as fuck tiger blanket or my dirty as fuck feet. Leave the next day without incident. Final part. I still have no explanation for what the fuck was happening, although like a year or 2 after it happened, I was discussing the trip. But none of the shit I saw, with one of my buddies who went, and he told me that they actually didn't notice I was gone until somebody. He said it was like a park manager or some type, came by in a car and asked them if their whole group was with them. The fuckers totally forgot about me and said yes. Then he told them if they saw anybody suspicious they should report it at the office in the morning. My closest bet is that I might have walked in on some sort of training exercise, but given the location that also doesn't make much sense.
Sounds pretty spot on. Location doesn't matter much for those sorts of things. They set them up anywhere where the land is cheap and far enough away from residential areas to avoid a fuss. That's the only thing I can imagine smoke machines, fake houses, and an outdoor intercom might be for. Someone watching security footage probably saw a creepy as fuck pseudo hobo anon staggering around the houses, avoiding light like some sort of horrid revenant, found him, then watched him slip away into the dark fog just as he found him. You probably made some poor guy shit all of the bricks he ever had.
I got one for you, which happened in 2005. I was 15 and had been with my first serious girlfriend for about 7 or 8 months. When I met her, we'd normally go up to London, or into the suburbs halfway between me and her. I lived out toward the country, but we'd generally end up coming back to this sleepy little town which was about halfway between our houses, and making out and pissing around for a few hours. Great in the summer. When it got to winter, we usually left a little earlier. It gets cold and dark in the UK really fast, like straight after sundown. So, almost to the day 8 years ago we met up, did the usual shit and came back to one of our favorite haunts on the edge of this little clearing. Hours of snogging, and this place was so quiet that despite the path 20 to 30 meters away like 2 people came past. Everything was pretty normal till we got up to go. I went off a little ahead, stumbling back through the brush towards the path. But then she called out to me, sounding really scared or confused or something.
Anon, wait for me. I can't get out.
So I waited naturally, joked about her being pathetic or whatever. She caught up, and she looked really off. She was a redhead, but I swear even in the dark I've never seen anyone paler. One of her hands was bleeding a little, and when I got her to the light of the bus stop her pupils were practically pins. I cleaned her up as best I could till the bus came, fawning over her the whole time, but all I got was this shy sort of smile, and occasionally she'd echo a word or two and nod or laugh. The bus came eventually, and we hopped on. She livened up a little. So I dismissed it, got over to the train station, and while waiting I noticed that a hell of a lot of them were gonna be delayed, so I told her to phone her parents.
Phone, ha ha.
Then she gave me a strange look, so I pulled my phone from my pocket and waved it about patronizingly, slowly repeating, phone, as a joke, but internally I was a little freaked out. She beamed back at me and stuck her tongue out, something I knew her to do a lot. She then reached into her pocket, mirroring me, and failed to produce her phone. She tried the others, and with a little guidance from me, her bag. No phone. I lent her mine, but she sort of stared blankly at the display. I guess she didn't know her parents' numbers. Whatever. But I was still a little concerned, so I asked her if she hit her head earlier, and asked if she needed to sit down. Something clicked. All of a sudden she was way more fluid again.
Yeah, Anon, I'm fine. Just been fucking with ya. God, you're adorable.
Etc. normal girl shit. I relax, and we wait for my train to pull up. I go in for a quick kiss and she bites my lip, passing it off with a grin. I got on the train as it started to bleed and took a seat. She was already gone. Normally she waved me off. Never mind. I got home, chatted to her on like MSN or something, and she apologized for weirding me out in slightly broken English. All was well for a few weeks. Then she texted me.
Anon, please.
I hadn't caught up with the problem here, so I texted back, what's up? I got a reply, not her name. And then it hit me that she had lost her phone. I texted like 20 times after that, heart in my throat, sometimes demanding, others begging. Someone else picked up her phone. I always told myself, what else could it be? Never got that reply. Anyway, I saw her a few years ago. After those texts, she dropped me like a hot potato the next day, without having her phone. She seemed alright, she had her dad with her. We chatted for a bit, and she went off for whatever reason for a few minutes, and her dad asked me if she had been acting up while we were going out. I explained a little about the phone and showed him the texts. He looked a little concerned, but thanked me, and I left. Haven't seen either since.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel, as more green texts will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.